people to watch
Yeah. The
because
more
they get
revenue
paid.
they get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like we are live now. Maybe,
Okay.
maybe not. I don't know.
I don't see it coming on.
Yes, this is live. 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Holy crap! That's a pretty long delay there. 45.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and mine's not muted. Darn it. Okay, there we go. Well, it'd probably take a few minutes anyway for everybody to storm on in.
I could see it on my end.
Yeah.
I have my phone too. So.
And I don't know how bad the storm is, but we got a storm coming. So hopefully,
Uh-oh.
hopefully, knock on wood, everything's good.
Yeah.
Well, I can start a little bit talking about some of the food that you make.
Okay.
The last thing I wanted to try was your your egg bites
Oh, yeah.
because those look really good.
They are really good.
I was sitting there watching them on the TV, and I'm
They
like,
are really good. And you can freeze them too. You could just put them in the
yeah,
freezer, make them for the whole week, pop them
yeah,
out, put them in the
that's what I
microwave.
got. I got it from Misfit Market, and I
Uh-huh.
tried them there.
Yeah.
They were good, but I mean, it's a lot cheaper to do it yourself.
Oh, yeah. Costco. I just came from Costco, and Costco has them. I think they're 6 to the package, and they're $10.99 or something like that. So
Wow.
yeah, much cheaper to make them yourself.
How much are eggs in your area?
At Costco, they are 20. What do we get? 20 count? 20, yeah, 20 count. They're $4.49.
Okay.
So, but if you don't get them at Costco, they're like Aldi is $3.29 when
Yeah.
Aldi used to be 59 cents. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's gotten, yeah. If you go to like a Kroger, I do mystery shopping at Kroger, like Ralph's and Vaughn's and Safeway, Albertsons, and the eggs are $5 for a dozen. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And I don't know how much they are now, but the last time I got eggs from Misfit Market, they were $2.69 for organic grass fed or free range chicken eggs.
For a dozen?
Yep.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. I'm kind of spoiled on those eggs now because they taste so
Oh,
good.
yeah. Yeah.
Once,
I get them
once
at
you
Costco.
you get
Costco has them.
them them good chicken eggs. It's hard to
Yeah.
get back to the cheap ones that you get from
Yes.
like Walmart and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to have a store. I had a craft store, and one of my vendors had a little chicken coop, with like 30 chickens, but she used to bring me a dozen eggs every week. The yolks were so rich, and I have not been able to find anything comparable since then. And that
Yeah.
was 28 years ago. It was a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm wanting to
Hi,
get out of
Uncle
the city.
Al. Yeah.
Yeah. Uncle Al's in here.
Yep.
Rubberneck. Hey, Ginger Ninja. Al Bundy's in here. Hey guys. Well, why don't you tell everybody about your channel so they get an idea who you are?
Well, I am Diane the Canning Nana. I've had my channel for 5 years, actually, just about this month. And I teach canning and dehydrating, gardening, self-reliance, food storage, recipes. I
Good
cook things.
recipes.
Thank you. All kinds of different things. And then the freeze-dried stuff. So I'm a consultant for Thrive Life Foods, and then I'm doing Thrive Life recipes too, because people buy freeze-dried food for, to store it because it stores for 25, 30 years. And then they just buy it and they let it sit there. And if you use it, we like incorporate it all the time. I made the egg bites using freeze-dried food. And if you use it and you know what to do with it, when the time comes and you really need it, you're going to know what to do with it. If not,
Yeah.
then you can't just let it sit there, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you're not used to like um, reconstituting it, I guess it's
Yeah.
called, then
Yeah.
it's like, unless you put it in a soup, because it does it itself. But like if you're
Yeah.
going to use it for like eggs or something like that, if you
Yeah.
don't do it before, never done it before.
Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing, especially dehydrated food takes more water or more liquid to reconstitute it than freeze dried does. So if you are using dehydrated food, it takes a lot longer and a lot more liquid
Mhm.
just to get it to like the consistency that you want. And then it's not the same consistency as fresh, where freeze dried is much more um, consistent, you know, with a fresh, like fresh produce or something like that. And it's good to snack on. You can snack on
Yeah,
it freeze dried. It's great.
you lose so much nutrient too from um,
Dehydrating.
dehydrating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, even canning you do.
compared.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even canning. It's freeze dried and then canning and then dehydrated. So of
yeah,
course you always want fresh, you know, or frozen if you can freeze it. But if something happens and you know power goes out, then your freezers, you know, like me, I'm ready with canners and stuff if we lose power to can food that I have in my freezer. But
yeah,
a lot of people aren't. So that's why it's good to have your food in different varieties, you know, canned food, freeze-dried food, dehydrated food, have a garden, you know, have plans, different plans. Don't
yeah,
just have all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. You know, that's one thing that I teach on my channel.
yeah. I, I've been to a few when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
When the kids go want to go out and go camping and go fishing and stuff, and they get all the food or stuff, and you find out you're missing this or you're missing that. You
Yeah.
learn real quick.
Yeah.
Like I one time we went and just had cases of cans of whatever soup, chili, and all different stuff. We
Hmm.
get out there and nobody brought a can opener.
Yeah.
We were all banging them on rocks and trying
Yeah.
to open them up. It
Yep.
wasn't good. And you learn to prepare yourself next time you go out.
Yeah. Well, I'm planning. We've got a trailer too for camping, and I'm planning to stock that with freeze dried food. I used to just have my canned food. You know, when we go camping, I'd bring my canned food or even my canner because we'd go
Yeah,
camping with you know family, and I'd make sauce and then can it and give it out or whatever. You know, so I'd can while camping, but I plan to pack it with freeze dried food because it's so much lighter than jars. And then we live in earthquake country in California, so it's really crucial that we have not just canning food, but
yeah.
dehydrated and freeze dried too, just in case the jars break. You know, I'm not anticipating that, but you
Oh,
never know. You know.
I had a bunch of my shelves. Well, they were shelves that were already here, but
Uh-huh.
I thought they were nice and sturdy and stuff. And then uh, came home one day and smelled pickles.
Oh,
Couldn't
yeah.
figure out where the pickle smell was coming, and I went down the basement. The whole shelves went down.
Oh my
Lost a
god.
lost a bunch of stuff. I
Oh,
still smell pickles down in the
I was
basement
gonna
too.
say, how did you get that out? That's
It's
so
still there.
oh my gosh.
But
Wow.
yeah, you just like you said that if your power goes out, you start canning your stuff in the freezer. That's
Yeah.
another thing. You got to make sure you have multiple ways of doing that.
Of
So if you
canning. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
because if you
we've
the
got a big
gas is
camping
out,
stove.
yeah,
So
gas
we've got
is
a
out or
big
something
two
like that.
burner. Yeah, you do. You do. Otherwise you're gonna lose all the food that you saved in your freezer, you know,
Mhm.
which is hundreds of dollars usually. So not a good thing.
What
So
what is something that uh you won't can again?
Something I won't can again. Gosh, I get that question a lot. And we just did. So I would have to say celery because I've canned celery.
Mushy.
And a lot of people recommend it and they like to have it on their shelf, but it's okay for soups, I guess. If you're going to use it for soups, it kind of mushes apart after the canning process, though it goes down to nothing. So I think I would say probably celery would be the
Yeah,
thing I would.
I did learn something from three little girls actually, vineyard chicks,
Uh-huh.
using grape leaves,
Uh-huh.
putting it inside there will keep the celery from getting mushy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
never tried it, but
I'll have to check that
they
out.
swear by it.
Yeah,
Same thing
I
with
know there's friends of mine, channels that swear by it with just the celery.
yeah
And I tried it. I tried a half a dozen jars and
yeah
I don't I don't like it's just too mushy for me and I've got dehydrated and freeze dried, so I'm good.
yeah. Even making like a stew and you put celery in it, and
So that's
it
okay.
it's still, I don't know. I don't. I like a little bit of crisp to it, or
Yeah,
a
yeah,
crunch to it, not mushy.
yeah. Yeah, I don't mind doing the stew or the soup with the celery in it because then it doesn't it doesn't hold together, but it doesn't mush like if you're just canning celery by itself. It's a
Yeah.
little bit different.
Now, what's your favorite thing to can?
Meats, I think, are my favorite
Meat.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was super easy because you raw pack meat, you just put it in a
I was
jar.
going to ask you, do you add water or you just stick the meat in the jar?
You The easiest way is to just stick the meat in the jar,
Hmm.
um, pack it loosely, wipe the rim with vinegar, put the lid on, and stick it in your canner. 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts. It makes its own juice. Perfect. You can put like better than bouillon, a little cube of better than bouillon on it, and it makes its own broth. You
Yeah.
get chicken broth, and it's really good. We make a lot of chicken sandwiches, chicken salad sandwiches with it, or I mean, you can use it in anything. But
Yeah.
then you can um, pre-brown the chicken or meat of any kind. You could do that with any meat. You can raw pack any meat, and then you can pre-brown it and add, like if you're doing beef, you can add beef bone broth, like I make my own, or beef stock or whatever. Same with chicken, and then just add that because once it's pre-browned, it's not going to make as much broth. It'll make a little bit, but it's not going to cover it. So you always want to, if you pre-brown it at all or pre-cook it, you want to cover it with liquid.
Yeah, that's how I've always done it. I just put it in there raw. But if
Yeah.
I'm making something like chili or something like that, or taco meat or something like that,
Hmm.
then I'll brown it, not all the way,
Yeah.
just enough
Right.
to take on the seasoning.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. You have to be careful putting the seasoning in there because
Yeah.
it amps it up.
Yep. It does. It does.
Yeah, we were just talking about that yesterday. My co-host on Tuesdays, he uh, he he decided to put a little bit more sugar or salt in there in his
Oh.
spaghetti sauce, and found out that woo, he had to end up throwing it all out.
Oh, wow. So if you ever do that, you can add onion to it, and the onion will absorb the salt.
Yeah, I told him, I said you could do potatoes too. Potatoes,
Potatoes, yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
he said, well, it's too late now.
yeah, yeah. I've got to make some more sauce. We're almost out of sauce. We go
Yeah,
through a lot, and I make a lot of sauce, but my kids always want it, and
that's
so
what I'm waiting for, is the growing season, because I lost all that stuff.
yeah,
I didn't have that many. I had maybe a couple cases of uh, jars
yeah,
of spaghetti sauce, but oh, you miss that stuff when you don't have it, and
yeah,
you have to go open a can. You
yep,
you 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 taste the difference.
yeah.
Um, what's your what's some of your favorite stuff that you make with the Thrive Life stuff?
Oh gosh. I do like an egg scramble almost every morning with spinach, the freeze dried spinach, tomatoes, onions. Um, Gosh, what else do I put in it? I have broccoli I put in it sometime. I love doing that, especially the spinach.
Yeah,
You open a can of the freeze dried spinach and it tastes like you just picked it out of the garden. It's so good. And we love
I
spinach.
like spinach and eggs.
Yeah, it's really good. But
Yeah,
I
we
use
got it.
some of it every day.
Oh, that's
Like
good.
the peppers or something. It's really good because it's already cut for you, and there's no waste. You just grab whatever you need out of the can, and then put it back. So
Yeah, it's kind of hard to only use half a pepper and then put it back.
yeah, yeah, that's one thing that I love about Thrive, and that's what I teach all my customers and my consultants is that, it's already there's no waste. It's you're buying today at today's prices and you're saving it for, 10 years, whatever, but you also want to use it,
Yeah,
so learn to use it now. And it's really good. You run out of celery or something, you just grab a can.
yeah.
Especially onions. The chopped onions are the best in the world. I hate chopping onions, and their chopped onions are so good. They're so
um,
good.
or dehydrating them. It smells good for a little bit, and then
Yeah.
you can't
See,
get rid of the smell.
everybody tells me that, and I don't know. I'm Italian. I like the smell. I dehydrate garlic. I dehydrate onions in the
Oh,
house.
garlic.
It doesn't
That's what
bother me. It doesn't bother my
I love the
husband, so
smell of
we're good.
garlic.
Oh yeah.
And you got a question here.
Okay.
Do you do your own freeze drying?
I do not. I sell. I'm a consultant for Thrive Life company. So I buy all of my freeze dried through them, and then I sell it to all of you guys. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the freeze dry machine is expensive.
and we looked into that. So that's one of the reasons I became a consultant is because I really wanted a freeze dryer. I really did, and I looked into it for the last couple of years. And the initial cost is like 3,500 to 4,500, depending on what size you get. And then I talked to some people online that have them, and most people are happy with them. They're not happy with the cost, but they're happy with
Mhm.
them. But a lot of people say that the oil pumps go out, and it's another $1,000 or $1,500, and a couple people have said they go out, multiple times, and you're freeze drying and then storing it. You have to store it in a mason jar with an oxygen absorber or a desiccant package, depending on the food that you're doing. And
Right.
then you cannot store it good enough to last 25 years, 20, 25 years. So it's
Yeah,
all done by the company, and it's so much easier. It's so much easier to do.
and that's that. Everybody says Marlar bags, not Marlar bags.
Yeah,
They're nice for certain things, but
yeah,
um, they fail a lot.
yeah,
Um, unless you have a good, because a lot of people say don't use a vacuum sealer with Marlar bags, but
yeah.
you have to have a good one, a good vacuum sealer to use that on
Well,
Mylar
and
bag.
these are the bags that like Harvest Right, the freeze dryer comes with that you buy from them. So this is from Thrive, and it's the same type of bag that you would use if you're have your own freeze dryer. That's what you're going to put it in, unless you put it in a mason jar.
Hmm.
And even Thrive Life has a 2-year shelf life on this. So to me, when I looked into that, it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah,
It's much better. I get the cans, and the canned food is good for 25 years. Most of the food. Some of the food is not. It's good for maybe 10 years. It just depends on what it is. And
yeah,
like the onions, the onions are freeze dried, but they have carrots and potatoes that are those are dehydrated. No, no, no. My cat wants to join.
yeah.
It's Noah. He's famous on YouTube already.
Yeah, I have a few that I'm surprised they're not coming over here bugging me now.
Yeah.
Well, I planned it ahead of time. I fed them a little later,
Yeah.
so they're in the chill stage at the moment.
Come on, come on, Daddy. Getting hair all over me. Uh,
Now, I found out about you from Heather, the Needy Homesteader,
uh-huh.
when we did the um, collaboration thing with her,
Yeah.
doing the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been watching since then. So
Yeah.
um, I think the most recent one you've done. Well, no, you did one about like how to open your lid and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I did that
'Cause
yesterday.
a
To vent
lot of
it.
people a lot of people open it like this, and that steam
Yeah.
comes right up out of.
Oh, yeah.
That's the number one thing why people go to the hospital for
For
uh,
canning.
canning accidents.
Yeah.
Is that
They
or
open it right in front of them.
or they pull the jiggler off.
Oh, yeah. 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 I've had people email me about that and said, we're just starting out and they didn't know. So they pulled it off. They had no
Yeah,
idea that once they turned the gas off, they figured, okay, well, I get to take them out now. And, that's one of the things. I'm on Facebook a lot right now and a lot of the canning groups because there is so much misinformation on Facebook.
yeah,
It's so scary because there's people that are canning cheese and canning things that they shouldn't can, especially if they're just starting out. It's just, I don't know. It's just so
yeah,
much bad information out there. And I always tell everybody, you have to remember you're feeding your families as food. Your family is trusting you with this to feed them. Everybody takes eating for granted. They open a jar from the store, whatever,
yeah,
and assume it's going to be good, but when you home can, you have to take extra care that, you're doing it properly for the correct amount, for the time, because you want to kill everything that's in that jar. You don't, you're putting it on the shelf for however long. Um, yeah, I just had somebody contact me that said they did ground beef and one of the lids was not sealed. So they pushed the seal down and then left it in the pantry and it popped up and
oh,
they saw it 7 days later and he said it's still good though, right? Because it popped back down when I pushed it, popped back down and I said, no, you have to throw that away. It's not good. Please don't eat that.
that's
So
why you don't touch that's why you don't touch them when you take them out. You leave them for 24 hours. You
yeah,
don't touch
yeah.
the lid or anything.
And this person didn't. They let the jars cool and that was it. As soon as they cooled, they took the ring off and yeah. So, and then other people, I always get, well, my jar's sealed, so they're fine. It doesn't matter how long you process it for. And yeah, any jar with hot food in it with a lid and a ring is going to seal because of the hot food. As it cools, it's going to pull out that air. It's going to vacuum seal
Yeah,
itself. It doesn't mean it's processed and it doesn't mean it's shelf stable. So you have to
yeah,
follow the process. Then you have to trust the process that you're doing.
yeah. You got to do that, especially meat and
Yes.
acidy stuff, isn't it?
Well, anything really. Not so
Yeah.
much the acidy stuff. Pickles, because
Oh
pickles
yeah,
you can pickle, leave on the counter, you're fine. Certain
yeah,
pickles, if it hasn't the right acidity, then you're fine. But other things, vegetables, beans,
yeah.
um,
Green beans. Yeah,
yeah, and pinto beans, stuff like that. I just did baked beans and then I did pinto
yeah.
beans
I was
the
gonna
other
say
day.
say that the
Yeah,
baked
you
beans
have to
look
be
really good.
careful. Oh, the baked beans are so good. So
Yeah,
good. Really good. If you like Bush's baked beans, that
I was
recipe
gonna
is
say
amazing.
because a lot of people will argue about what bean it is
Yeah.
that baked beans are made out of, and
Yeah.
a lot of people think it's pinto beans. It's not pinto beans.
Yeah. It's usually navy beans or Great Northern beans.
Great Northern, yeah.
But you can make them out of pinto beans. I mean, if that's all you have, then yeah, you can.
Oh, but you could tell the difference, though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that it holds the flavor so much better. Pinto beans are more heartier.
Yeah.
Bean, I think.
Well, I can pinto beans because we make like taco salads, or I refry the beans. I make my own refried beans, and you can't beat fresh refried beans.
Oh, I know.
So good. Just yeah, straight out of the jar, and then so good.
Yeah, and there, because there are people that believe one thing about canning, and you tell them another way, and they get real defensive. I'll put it that way.
And I get that a lot too, because they I will teach something, and then I'll get an email, and they'll say, well, I've been doing it this way. My grandparents or my parents have been doing it this way for years, and nobody's died yet. Well, you're really lucky nobody's died yet, and yes, things were done differently way back when, food was different then. We have hybrid food now, they didn't have that back then. You could can tomatoes. My family did tomato sauce in Italy. They didn't put lemon juice in it. They didn't have to, but it was acidic enough. Now, people don't like that tart taste of the tomatoes, so they've made these hybrid tomatoes that are all sweet now, and they don't have acid in them. So you have to add an acid to it if you water bath. So, but yeah, I get that so much. Well, my grandparents water bathed everything, and I'm sure they did. That's all that they had, and the science of food preservation and canning has come so far, and we know so much more than we did 50 years ago, and we know to be safer now. So why not take the extra steps? Your family, you're feeding people. So
yeah, it's like double the time to water bath meat.
Oh
and stuff.
gosh,
oh,
it's 3 hours to water bath. And there are countries that don't have pressure canners, and I totally get that. They have to water bath, and I totally understand that. But they also boil the food for 20 minutes before they eat it too, when they take it out. So, and a lot of people don't do that. So, but there's a lot of misinformation, and people are just going by what they learned when they were younger, and I totally understand that. I learned jam when I was younger. I learned canning from my dad. So my dad learned canning from his mom, and when he made jam, the first time I made jam, I never water bathed it. He taught me how to turn it over. You turn the jars over. That's all you did, and then they sealed. And then I wanted to can some more, and I, looked into it and researched and learned. And, I go by the USDA methods. I mean, there's a couple things that I do rebel canning, but I don't teach that on my channel.
Yeah. So. Oh, here we go. Got another question.
Okay.
Pop it up there.
Okay. So, what pressure canner would you recommend for a beginner? It depends on the stove that you have. It depends on the stovetop. I have an old Miro canner. It's a 23-quart Miro canner. Those are really hard to find, but they have 23-quart Presto canners that are good for regular stovetop and the glass stovetop. Those are really good for a beginning canner. If you're an advanced canner, I would totally go with the All-American canner. It's a workhorse, and it's the last canner you'll ever buy. But if you're going to do canning, the one good thing about a pressure canner is that you can pressure can your jars, you can pressure cook in it, and you can water bath can in it. So you can it's like a 3-in-1. So if you have a water bath canner, you can't do anything but water bath. But with a pressure canner, You can do all
I've
of that.
cooked big old roast in my roast and a bunch of potatoes. 'Cause
Yeah.
I had 5 kids here, so
Yeah.
I had to make big meals. So we'd had a big meal or something. I'd just toss a bunch of potatoes, big
Yep.
thing of meat in there, and it was a canner, but still it did the same thing.
Oh yeah. It's a pressure cooker, pressure canner. You
Yeah.
can cook in a pressure canner. You cannot can in a pressure cooker. And a lot of people, will send me pictures and say, "Oh, I inherited this, from my family. How do I can with it? It doesn't have weights." That's because it's a pressure cooker. It's not a pressure canner.
Yeah.
So you can put a pressure canner on a glass top.
Yes, you
Wow.
can.
Yeah. It just the only one that's recommended is the Presto 23 quart. That's the only one. And if you have a glass top, I would call your manufacturer and ask. But that's the only one that's recommended that I know of is the Presto
Yeah,
20.
I've got an old one. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's an old one. That's what my concern was, because I have a glass top,
Uh-huh.
and so I looked it up on the website and found uh, the number and everything, and that was one of the questions I asked is, can I use this on a glass top? And
Yeah.
yeah, just don't move it around or anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Somebody just said it, unless it's an Instapot Max. So Instapot, honestly, I know that they're coming out with electric canners. There's a couple of electric canners out. Instapot says you can can in it. I wouldn't, because there's no regulation of the pressure. There's no regulation of the temperature. And you can water bath in it. But I wouldn't trust it like for meat or anything like that until there's more research done on it. They're marketing them as canners, the Instapot. I know there's a couple people online. Rose Red Homestead has tested a few of them, a few different electric canners, and even she's kind of iffy. She's tested with the temperature inside and everything. It's still kind of iffy. It's too iffy for me. People ask me all the time when I'm going to get an electric canner. It's like, nope, I will do it myself. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't one of the things we were talking, and here he is right here, Jeff. We were talking about yesterday, what other, because we were talking about jelly, because he failed at making jelly. He made a hockey puck, but we're talking about what to use instead of that the powder Pectin that you buy to make the jelly. What other ways of making jelly other than that, the powdered Pectin?
So it depends on the fruit. If you're doing like an apple jelly, you don't need Pectin. If you're doing strawberry, you don't need Pectin. For the things that you do need Pectin for, you can either use regular Pectin or you can use what's called pomona Pectin. And it's a different, it uses like a calcium base. You mix it with water and you won't fail. That you will not fail with the pomona Pectin. Only one time.
You forgot about the spaghetti sauce. But that's the thing. That's a good learning, that he learned something from that.
Yeah. Well, and you can't really fail making jelly either, because you can always use that like for like strawberry, say you have strawberry jelly that doesn't set, you have strawberry syrup. Strawberry syrup, strawberry topping, add it to drinks, to flavor drinks. You never fail. And if it does not set, you can always redo it with another bag of Pectin. So,
there's another question right there.
How many gaskets, like how many lids do I recommend?
No, I think the replacement gasket for your pressure cooker.
Oh, for the pressure canner,
Yeah,
at least one, depending on your brand.
and,
I'm
and
having trouble
also
right
that
now.
also the little one. The I forget what they call it, because well, on some canners they have that little rubber.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I don't know what it's called, but
yeah,
it's the little rubber plug that,
yeah.
um, which I have to get one because somewhere down the line something chewed on it.
Oh, okay.
So it probably doesn't work anymore. So I have to find that little rubber plug.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, my canner, my Miro, I think I've replaced the liner, the gasket in it maybe 3 times in 15 years, which is a long time. But I take care of
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
I wash it, the blow up plug. Yeah, I wash it. And then you can put some olive oil or Vaseline on
That's
it.
what I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yep. And it makes it last. Right now, I'm having trouble. I need another gasket for my Miro, and I can't find them. So I
Oh,
have an All
really?
American. Yeah, that's the one good thing about the All American. You never need a gasket. It's metal on metal,
I'll
and it
go
seals.
next time I'm at Roll King. I'll because they have a bunch of them.
Who does?
Roll King. You
Okay.
probably don't have them
No.
in the West, but
Mhm.
uh, Roll King's awesome. They have All Americans for $62. Not the big ones, but
The smaller one?
the starter size. I would.
Wow.
Um,
Oh my
if I
gosh.
didn't already have, because I actually got another one. I picked it up at um, Goodwill for
Uh-huh.
$2.99.
Oh
So
my God.
I couldn't pass that up.
Oh,
It's the double one to where you can double stack them.
yeah. Yeah, it's probably the
But
921, the one that I
the
have.
the bigger jars, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the
But
921.
I won't put that one on a glass top though.
Yeah, no, that's too heavy.
It's just too big.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't I have an All American and I don't can with it because it's too heavy. So I've got
Oh,
major back problems, major wrist problems right now, and I cannot pick it up. And usually I can when my husband's not here at work and unless it's a weekend and he can pick it up for me. I can't lift it. Even just the lid is heavy for me.
yeah.
I'm having
Um,
trouble lifting cast iron pans right now. So
yeah,
that canning pot is
that one
really
would
heavy.
be something that I would use outside. Like if I get, I keep saying property to where I get out of the city,
Yeah.
I would set up an outdoor kitchen,
Yeah.
um, to where I would do all the canning and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
Well, and
just
we have that. We've got like a camping kitchen that we set up when we go camping, and we've got a big double propane stove that I can fit water
yeah,
bath canners on, or my All American will go on it. So that's what I use to can. Every
yeah.
September we get a bunch of tomatoes. We go tomato picking. We get like 300 pounds of tomatoes,
Oh
and then I
boy.
can those. So I have canners going outside on my little courtyard here, with the propane stove, and then I'll have more canners in the kitchen going. We just, it's like a
Yeah,
constant factory of tomatoes.
that's one thing. If you do this outside, one good thing is to find is you know those burners that are for to deep fry turkeys and stuff.
Yeah,
A lot of people will buy those and they'll try it one time and then they'll just toss out the
yeah,
because it's too much a hassle.
yeah,
And you can get them burners really cheap and you can can on those
yeah.
outside really good.
Well, that's
Uh,
kind of what we have, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we have. We've got a
This is
big.
all
okay.
of them.
It's a big double one. They have
Oh
double and
yeah.
triple ones, and that's what
Yeah.
ours is. Is it can hold the canner on it and still have room, on the sides. The one thing you have to watch is the BTUs on those are really, really high. So canning is not recommended on them by the manufacturer of the canning pressure canners, but that's why. So you just have to,
Lower flame.
yeah, you have to lower the flame on it.
Oh yeah.
You don't have it all the way up because the BTU is way too high for a pressure canner
Oh
or,
yeah.
or a water bath canner. But we do it all the time, and it works fine. You just have to have it really, really low.
Yeah. And here's another question from Jeff.
Okay, so quarts. I don't know about 2 quarts. I have the All American 921, and I can probably double stack quarts, but I usually will put quarts on the bottom and then put pints on the top. I don't usually double stack quarts. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's why I said I wouldn't use the one I've got for on my glass top.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just I'd be afraid that it'd go smash through it or something.
yeah,
They are heavy. Those things
yeah,
are.
yeah. They are heavy, especially with all the jars in them. They're even heavier.
Yeah.
And
Or,
it weighs a
or
lot.
just picking them up and dumping the water out after you're done.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I have trouble doing because I've got to do the water a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what he said he uses for outside.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people use them.
Now, do you have? Because this is what his where he messed up. Do you have a recipe for canning jalapeno jelly?
Yes.
Okay.
Get the ball canning book, and the USDA guide to canning. And there's jalapeno jelly in both of those recipes, I believe.
All right.
But yeah, I'll try to do. I have not ever showed that on my channel. I've only ever made it once. Jalapeno jelly. My daughter likes it. But I've never showed it on the channel. That was like way before I started my channel. So I'll try to do that because we've got tons of jalapenos here. So I'll try to do the jelly.
Yeah, I've got a bunch growing. So the first thing I want to do though is smoked jalapeno poppers. Wrapped in bacon in the smoker. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Then I'll worry about doing the jellies and the cactus or cowboy candy.
Yeah.
Hey, Garden State Gardener, and got Prepping 101s on here. Yeah, that's his. He put too much pectin.
Too much pectin. You probably have like little gummies, like a solid gummy.
Yeah, he actually took a hammer and was hammering the fork to.
Yeah, I bet. Yep.
We told him he's probably invented a new bulletproof armor. But hopefully he has better luck once he gets his jalapenos going.
Yeah. Bulletproof jelly. Yep.
And what is some of the, like you said, the main questions you get?
What are some of them?
Canning? Yeah.
The main questions are there people asking what can they can. I just had a question the other day. Somebody asked me if they wanted me to show canning zucchini or squash, and then radishes, all things that you can't can.
Radishes?
Yeah. You can pickle radishes, but you can't just can them. I don't know why you would want to either, but zucchini and squash don't can well. It's a density issue. So
the Vineyard Chicks make they turn their I don't know how they do it. I've watched it, but they cut up zucchini and then turn it into pineapple. They can it, and it tastes just like pineapple.
Oh wow! You know what? I think I've heard of people doing that. I'm not sure what that's. I don't know if that's pickle. I think they pickle it though, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just like yeah, it's
Yeah, I've
I
heard of
don't know.
that. I've never done
But,
it. I'll have to watch that.
yeah, um, and it's weird that I've learned quite a bit off of three little girls,
Yeah.
but they know their stuff,
Yeah.
um, gardening and all kinds of stuff. But yeah,
Yep.
uh, one thing I wanted to do, the needy homesteader did is that bacon stuff. I forget what she called it. It's like a bacon jelly that she puts on her hamburgers and stuff.
Is it bacon or onion jam?
It has bacon in it, but it has
Okay.
onions too. So
Okay.
it
I
could
think
it
it's
could
onion
be,
jam.
yeah. Oh, that stuff looks good.
Yeah. I've never done
But
that either, but yeah, it does look really good.
onions are so expensive now.
Oh,
And
really?
the thing is, um, I only have Walmart and I have Bueller's and Audi's. That's it. And our IGA, we used to be able to get like the big bags of onions
Yeah.
with the big onions and everything, but now
Yeah.
you get a 2 pound thing of onions and they're
And
bad
they're
in a week.
tiny. Oh, yeah. Well, I found out the hard way getting onions from Aldi because the onions there go bad so quickly. You
Yeah,
know, they're if you get them at Costco or like we have a Smart and Final here. So and they have the big bags. That's like it's kind of like an IGA, not quite. Um, but we used to have an IGA where I used to live, and
yeah,
they had
that's
big huge bags, kind of like Costco does, and those they were good,
yeah,
So
that's the thing. Even Walmart, um, you'll get something from there and come home and
yeah,
go to use it in 2 days, and
yeah. The
it's
produce is
bad.
not lasting. It's not lasting at all. Not like it used to.
Uh,
Yeah, we've noticed that. We
same
have
same
heard.
thing for bread.
Yes.
Bread's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
don't know
almost
why.
like they're holding on to it for a week before they give it to the
Yeah.
store.
Yep. Yeah. I'm in California. Somebody just asked if where I am. Yeah, we noticed the same thing, and we're really lucky
Yeah,
where I live. We're really close to the beach, but it's a farm town, or it used to be a huge farm town. It's built up a lot, and the farms are slowly going away.
yeah,
But we're like the strawberry capital of the world. So we have strawberries, but they grow everything here. So like when I go to can corn, I make corn and then corn cob jelly. I'll go to a farmer, to one of the farms and get 100 ears of corn at a time, and
yeah,
then can that. And I do that once a year, which is coming up pretty soon because we're completely out of corn and corn cob jelly.
yeah. Um, Jeff, the link's at the top. It's pinned to the top of the chat, asking for your link.
Oh,
Yeah, if make sure everybody goes over to her channel and check your channel out because she has. If you're not interested in canning, just go over there just for the recipes.
I do a lot more than canning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the link's at the top of the channel and in the description.
Oh, bee charming. I wish I can find a 50-pound bag of vidalias. I'll tell you, vidalias are a delicacy out here in California. We
Yeah,
get them for maybe a 2-week window, and that's it. So,
yeah. In New Mexico, they just lost crops of them
oh,
because of
really?
the fires that they had.
Oh,
Yeah,
hmm.
it flashed over the top of the fields and lost it. So
Wow.
yeah, you're gonna have a lot. Onions are gonna go up pretty high now.
Hmm.
But
Everything's
just like
going up.
everything else.
Yep. I know. That's what I keep telling everybody on my channels. Have a garden, any kind of garden, even if you're in an apartment, you can container garden. I have,
Yeah,
herbs growing in the kitchen when I can, and, little things, strawberries outside. I mean, I have a big yard and I've got a big garden, But this year I have barely anything because of my back issues. I haven't been able to get out there. So
Yeah.
I'm really just starting. So what I'm starting is like the second crop kind of, and then I'll be going into fall. But we can
Yeah.
grow everything year round here too.
I was going to say,
Yeah. I have
like
strawberries
when
year
I'm
round.
done next month, well, I can probably go a little, some things I can grow past that, but after next month, it's pretty much done for me out
Wow.
California, out west. You guys can keep on going.
Oh yeah. And where we are right here, we're in our own little microclimate. So we literally can grow like tropical stuff because we have the humidity, but it's cool humidity. Um, so we grow bananas out here, mangoes, papayas. I mean, it's a weird little area where we can just grow everything and like tomatoes, herbs, all that stuff will grow year round.
Yeah.
My tomatoes winter over. I don't pull them out; they don't die out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've seen people grow tomatoes that's been there for 10 to 20 years. And
yeah.
the base of it is that it's like a tree and it grows all up and it looks like a big old grapevine. It just goes everywhere. They have tomatoes growing all over the place.
Yeah.
But here you got a question about oven canning.
Okay, so you guys are not probably going to like what I'm going to have to say about oven canning, but oven canning is not really canning. When you're canning, you're using liquid. The jars are submersed in liquid or in a canner with liquid at the bottom so that they steam, and there's liquid in the jars. So you don't want to oven can because the heat is not going to penetrate all the way through for the correct amount of time like it would in water. Dry heat and being submersed in water are two totally different things. So you don't. I know there's a lot of stuff on Facebook right now about oven dry canning potatoes and um, gosh, people are dry canning milk in your oven. It's a big thing. Dry canning and oven canning right now.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. I try to teach safe
Pressure
practices.
canning.
Yeah, pressure canning. Pressure canning is canning. Oven canning is heating it through. Yes, it's going to seal because the food in the jar is hot and it's going to pull that vacuum seal down. So yes, your jars are going to seal, but are they processed? No.
And how
Are
long
they
are they
safe?
going to stay stilled for?
Yeah, they're not safe for your shelf. You can oven can and put in your refrigerator if that's what you want to do, but yeah, if not for your pantry. No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't. Absolutely wouldn't do it.
And yeah, Al Bundy's never heard of cob jelly.
What is it? Oh, yeah, my corn cob jelly.
Oh, that
Yeah,
stuff is good.
it's very good. Yeah, I have several videos on that on my channel from 4 years ago. And then I think the latest one is last year I made it. So this year I'm going to be showing like a better tutorial than I did 4 years ago. And I'm going to be doing a lot of it. That stuff is, I call it, it's like liquid gold because it's all, and you want to, I make cases of it when I make it like little half pints. And when you make it, you want to do it every year. So if you open it right away, right after you do it, it's going to taste like a sugary jelly. But if you let it set for a year at least, it's going to get darker in color and it's going to get more like a honey flavor. It just gets better and better and better with age.
Yeah.
It's so good. So good.
It's something you have to try.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, I don't think you have a video on canning squash.
No, squash is something that has density issues. So you
It's
don't
like a
want to.
celery.
Yeah, yeah, and it's going to fall apart. It will. if you can it, it'll look great when you take it out. It'll look great. As soon as you open that jar, you're gonna and take it out, you're gonna see how mushy it really is. It'll hold it'll hold the firmness kind of, or the shape of it. It'll hold not the firmness, but the shape. It'll hold the shape while you're canning it and when you take it out. But as soon as you open the jar, mush, total mush. You don't want to do it, and it's not recommended.
I would do freeze it or dehydrate it.
Yeah, I dehydrate my zucchini or freeze it. You know, grate it and freeze it.
Yeah, one thing I did learn, because normally making spaghetti sauce, you know, where you blanch the tomato and then take the peelings off.
Yeah.
I've learned that you save those peelings, because I used to just feed them to the chickens.
Absolutely.
Save them and then dehydrate them and then
make them into powder.
Grind them down, and you got
Yes.
So
I've been
if I do tomatoes, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, I do that. I've done that for years. When we pick tomatoes, we go to a local farm and we pick 300 pounds of tomatoes, of Romas every year. And I've been teaching that for years. And one of the things that Thrive Life freeze-dried food has is tomato powder. And it's dehydrated. It's not freeze-dried, it's dehydrated powder. So, you know, I tell everybody, because they say, well, is it worth it buying the tomato powder? If you don't have any, yes, you know, but if you can get fresh tomatoes and dehydrate those skins, absolutely do it. It's so good. And it's versatile. You can make sauce with it. You can make juice with it. You can make tomato soup. You can make tomato paste. So it's so versatile.
Whatever.
Yeah. Use it to thicken. I mean, there's so many uses for it.
Tomato gravy. So who like tomato gravy, that is. Some people don't, but it's good stuff.
Okay, there's all kinds of questions coming in. Somebody asked me earlier what I thought about dehydrating onions. I forgot. I can't see that now, but dehydrating onions are great. I slice onions and dehydrate them. I will do chopped onions. Dehydrating onions are great. And then keep them whole. But if you have a spice grinder and you need some onion powder for something, take a handful and grind up what you need for powder. But don't grind it all for powder, because then you have your whole onions. Same with garlic. You have the whole food if you want to use that for something, and then you can grind it up with, you know, for powder as you need it. And it'll clump up too. So you don't want to have it clump up and then throw it away. You can always put it back in the dehydrator in the jar, and then it'll dry out again.
One thing I did, I get, well, not this year. I didn't do it. Well, I'm not going to do it this year, but last year I got a sweet pepper, as a red pepper, and I made my own paprika.
Oh yeah.
Dehydrated them, then I ground it down. But one thing I was going to say is usually, but I didn't have my smoker then. Usually I'll smoke the pepper and then dehydrate it. That way it's got it's smoked paprika.
Yeah.
And if you go to buy paprika and then look at your smoked paprika, it's like 3 times more than regular paprika.
Yeah. I do that with hatch chili peppers. So whenever the hatch chilies come in season, I will go to the store almost every day and get some.
I miss those.
They come out here, but again, it's like a 2-week window that we have, which is coming up soon, like end of July, early August. We'll get them, hopefully. But I freeze some, I can some, and then I dehydrate the rest and then make a powder.
The same way with garlic. You can smoke the garlic first and then dehydrate it, grind it up, and it's smoked garlic powder.
Yeah, well, tomatoes too. You could do the same. You could do the same with tomatoes if you're going to make like a tomato powder, or just dehydrated cherry tomatoes. Even you could roast them first and then dehydrate them. They're really good.
Oh yeah, somebody knows what tomato gravy is.
Yeah.
Some people think, ooh, tomato gravy. It's good though.
Somebody asked if you can freeze veggies, green peppers, onions for freezing. Do you parboil first? Yes. So you always want to blanch your vegetables if you're freezing or dehydrating. Always blanch your vegetables. It will. It sounds funny because you're putting more liquid into it to dehydrate, but it will refresh better, and then it'll keep its color as well. And you can use frozen vegetables and canned vegetables to dehydrate too. So if you have frozen or canned vegetables that have reached their date in your pantry and you need to get rid of them, if they're going to expire, you can always dehydrate them and you don't have to blanch them. They're already done for you.
And here's another question for you.
Okay. If you buy a restaurant-sized can of whole tomatoes and you want to can
I've been asked this before too.
So it's not recommended to recan food, but you can recan food. Yes. It's pretty much the same thing. I've done it with corn before, like the number 10 cans of corn, and I've recanned it. Green beans. It's just like buying the food and making a soup and then canning the soup. You can do that too. But yeah, you would do it the same way for the same amount of time that you do regular tomatoes, the canned tomatoes. It's no different.
Mr. Nuthouse himself wants to. What is a blanch?
Okay, so a blanch is just you're putting your vegetable into hot water from 1 to 3 minutes. You're just getting like the outside of it hot. And then you want to put it in ice water and then either pat it off if you're going to freeze it or put it in your dehydrator and dry it. But you always want to blanch vegetables.
Yeah. Unless
you're making like a powder, like celery, onions. If you're only going to make powder out of it, you don't have to. But I do anyway. It's just something I do.
Well, we kind of went over, but go ahead and tell everybody what you have planned and everything for the future of your channel and whatnot.
Oh goodness, I have so many canning videos that I want to do. So many.
It's the season 2 coming up.
Yes, and I just asked in one of my videos what people want to see me do. So I'm getting a lot of emails about that. And, I'm going to be doing strawberry jam pretty soon, probably in the next week because our fair is coming up. And I just did the paperwork today to enter a bunch of things into our fair. So I'm going to be pretty busy. It's the first time in 4 years that I've entered. So, I've got that coming up. Going to do some more meat. I'm looking for chicken because we're almost out of chicken. I have freezer chicken, but I don't have a whole lot of canned chicken left. Yeah. So, I'm going to be doing some more meats, some more stocks, probably canning beets, green beans coming up, some more soups and stews, or anything. If you guys want to see something, go over and leave a comment on my channel. My email's super easy. You can always email me. It's just thecanningnana@gmail.com. Super easy to remember. And I'll answer questions if you guys have any questions. I always try to make myself available for my subscribers all the time. I answer questions and stuff. So, that's why I started my channel, is to be, to help people, Yeah. So.
Well, thank you for jumping up here on short notice.
Thank you.
I could have swore I emailed you last Friday.
No, and I just got it yesterday.
Through my list, and I said, I don't see the email. I typed it out and everything, and it wasn't there. So I went and figured I'd give it another try, and then you replied back real quick, so that was good. But thank you for jumping up here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Make sure everybody goes over and checks out what she's got going on her channel. Thank you, mods and everything. And Tomorrow we will be over at Jeff's channel. I'm not quite sure what he has planned, but we will see. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.